Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. Last episode we were creating an island. In fact, last episodes we spent quite a long time on it. It was a long form series of videos, the advanced island editor, and we created that thing on the horizon. Now, this episode, it's kind of a non-playthrough episode. We need to go and test it. Now, I wouldn't normally do this on camera, but people have asked for it, so we are going to oblige. This is the current island that we're on. In fact, we saved during a storm, so when I loaded this up, I was greeted by lightning and storm noises in my ears, and I kind of went a little bit deaf. I just went, oh no, I need to turn the headphones down. Now, we need to get over there. In fact, we have a raft over there, but we're not going to use it. We're going to use the dev tools. Now, this comes as a caveat, people. I will be using dev tools. You can kind of use them to cheat, but if you want to get the best from this game, do not cheat. I'm going to say that again because some people just have that little thing, that little glint in their eye, and they're like, ooh, I can use... No, don't cheat. It will sour your enjoyment of the game. But the tools are very, very useful, especially if you are doing series or something. So we're going to hit / you can already see we've been playing around with the time because I needed to get to the next day without saving the game. This is very important if you are but if you are testing a map. So we're going to go dev tools.god. So we're going to turn God mode on, and then we're going to hit / again. I think it's either tilde or / if you're on an American keyboard. So that means we can now fly. So if we press W, we go up in the air, or if we just kind of look. So now we are flying, and this is kind of a little bit immersion breaking, but it means we can get over to that island and really explore and see if everything's functioning the way it should do before we actually start using it for our series. So we're just going to hover over the sea. Now, I should explain something about God mode. It is not God mode. It just allows you to fly. You can still be poisoned. You can still be bitten by sharks. You can still break something. Now, the world is kind of loading in. That's kind of cool. And we can kind of see where we're going to land. That over there, that island over there is Home Island. That is the Sea Arch Island. And that is the island we're currently on. Like I said, kind of a little bit immersion breaking. So you would recognize all of this from the island editor. These are all the trees and plants, and now there's grass everywhere, which is kind of cool. And I think we can already see that, this is fairly good. I just want to check a few things. I want to check that the rocks and everything, that there's no obvious gaps in geometry, like down here, gap in geometry just here. So I've got to make a mental note of that and do something about that before we start playing. But apart from that, it looks pretty good, fine. So we'll just hover around the island. Now we can change the time of day. If we do, in fact, if we bring this up, it's 11:44. Food and water is going to be down. We could theoretically, I think, starve to death or even dehydrate, even in God mode. So we're going to go dev tools .time, and we're going to put space 10. And we're going to bring it back to about 10 o'clock. So it's now 10 o'clock in the day. You can see the shadow of the dude with his arms out. But we're kind of looking around. The other thing that happens now that we are actually in the game itself is that things will render from quite far away. So if we go back up into the sky a little bit and look at our island from quite far away, it actually takes a while before things like rocks and stuff start to disappear. So that's kind of cool. And then we've got our boat. And it's put some loot there, and it's put a console down there. But it kind of looks cool. It kind of looks pretty decent. Everything looks fine. Just want to make sure this is easily accessible, which it kind of does look like. There's no obvious gaps in geometry. What? I'm still... Whoa. Yeah, I'm still a little bit nervous about certain things because I still genuinely do not like the sea, and in the editor it's fine because nothing's moving and nothing's kind of active, and here everything's kind of active. I'm just checking to make sure I got the right C4. The other C4 actually will render grass and stuff on top of it, just like the walkways have grass on them. So that's fine. We use the right one there. The other thing is if we go over here, boop, That buoy renders in, and so does the shark. So the shark has now appeared. And if we try and get him, there we go. So he's now seen us. And what they will do is we just hover here. He will probably try and swim in a circle around us. Now, I just want to make sure he can actually get around this area, which is fine. It looks like, yes, can. Yeah, there he goes. Just kind of cruising around. So doesn't seem to be too phased by the items around the place. Good. He's so... sharp behavior, they will swim around and then they will kind of get a little bit upset. So what I'm going to do is go and hover over the shoreline and hope he comes back again. You going to come back again there, buddy? Come back again. Where is he? Ah, yes, there he is. So he's going to start coming along. And you can already see that the sea floor now has all these coral and bits and pieces. There's a little dash there from him as he's kind of trying to keep up. What I'm trying to see is if there's any places where he suddenly disappears under the ground or hits something and just vanishes from the world, because I've seen that before. Now, the edge of the island is very steep. So the bit... Oh, there he goes. Disappeared. Pretty much in line with this rock here. Oh, I don't know what causes that. So I don't know if he's now under the island, or if that is something we can kind of stop. So what I might do is put a bit of cliff here opposite that outcrop. So we need to patch the bottom of that stack. We need to put something here. But there doesn't seem to be anything obvious along here. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same fall off and everything. I'm not entirely sure whether they get too far from their spawn location, which is here. This is why we put the buoy in the water, the buoy ball in the water, and then they just vanish, whether it's just too far, because that is the tiger shark patrol option. Now, we could put a regular tiger shark, and I think what they would do is just kind of sit there until you came along and interacted with them. So they wouldn't swim around, they would just be here, and then you'd turn up, and then they go, oh, actually, I'm supposed to be doing something. And then they would start moving around. That is another option we can explore. We know the world beyond this island disappears down into the abyss, so there's nothing really for us to sort of look around there. An addition that I put in at the end of the last episode, I just want to make sure this sort of sand is... the islands are okay. There's no gaps or anything around the outside, because we know how we made this. There are a few gaps, but nothing that we can fall down or into, and the island itself is kind of pleasant. All right, fine, it all kind of works all right, and the waves come in and then they kind of ease off. Right, okay, fine. So everything looks fine. We've got a little hut thing there. Yep. So we're going to have to go and do something about that shark. That's going to be a problem for us. Everything... here we are. This bit might be a little high. It's started to get a bit of grass growing on it. Everything else looks fine. I didn't want grass on these surfaces, and there isn't any. That looks okay. Yeah. We might get a few stutters here and there. Because we are moving around in God mode and we are moving very, very quickly. So that's a thing. This sort of not grassy stuff, but this greenery is added by the game itself. We're not going to save. That's one thing, because I'll go into the editor and then I'll make some changes and come back. But things like this and things like that, loot I think it's created when you first come to the island, so any loot boxes we see around might actually disappear, or this might generate loot next time we come here to explore. Just have a little look in the forested area. Yep, it looks like a forest. There doesn't seem to be anything too bad here. I'm just kind of skimming around real quick. When we come here during the live session, it's not going to be too bad. It'll be very different. We sort of wandering around, and then we'll have sort of thirst and hunger meters. It looks good. It looks like everything is functioning. I'm going to have to see if we can do something with that shark. The rivers are rivery. Okay. A little bit of coral poking out. Oh yeah, there's a rowboat with some loot that's appeared on it. Doesn't seem to be anything else that's cause for concern. These look kind of cool. These little bridges, because when you place them in the creator in the editor, sorry, they have a solid texture. So this bit here is kind of poking through a little bit, but it gives it that kind of rough and ready look, as if someone's just got these bits and pieces and repurposed them. So that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So these areas look okay. Everything looks okay. Can we jump around up here? Okay, let's try that. If we go... Unfortunately, we can't just go and press up because it doesn't do anything to get the other commands. So we'll tools.god, turn God mode off. All right. And then we'll just hop up here. Now, is there any way we can get stuck? That's the important thing. This is not playing through the island. This is just making sure that we can actually move around. And there's no obvious geometry. No, it looks good. It looks good. There's a few things I need to change. A few things I might just add. Maybe off camera. Maybe we'll just switch over to the island editor and just map editor, sorry. I call it many things because there are many things to call it. And there are ways to break your ankles, even when you're just sort of testing these things. Like, oh crap, like that. Oh well, I fell off, but we can still get through that gap there. Cool. Making out those boy balls, they probably won't be there next time we appear. Okay, so everything looks fine except for that shark. That shark's going to be a problem for us. I don't know what to do. Whether we actually... Now, this could do with a bit of smoothing as well. We've got some sort of triangular terrain going on. All right, well, we haven't saved. Because it's... what time is it? Oh, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But everything else looks fine, with the exception of the bottom of that pillar. What was that? Oh, that was a leaf. The bottom of this pillar, which needs to be looked at, just there, because we've got some open geometry. Fine, that's not a problem. We can sort that out, and it looks like all the trees and everything are where we need them to be. They're all on the ground, and the rocks and everything are actually objects. Cool, so we're going to escape from that. We're going to quit. Yes, we are. And we're going to go back to the editor. Okay, well, we're going to find Deep Blue Sea, which is the island we were just on, and we're going to hit edit. Okay, and we're back in the island itself. So this is what it looks like not in-game with the forever midday sun. Let's just go up. Let's get ourselves off of these trees. There we go. So we're zooming around once more. Okay, so where was the problem? We had a problem here, opposite. What? I think I've turned the mouse sensitivity. I've turned the mouse sensitivity down because when you're in game, I don't want the camera to swing around too much and make people ill. Now this bit here is where the shark disappeared. Let me go under the water. Let's go to objects. There we go. So we don't have a big blue thing. There is no obvious difference between that bit of terrain and anywhere else. So I'm wondering if it's like a distance thing, whether the shark gets too far from its spawn point and then disappears. Although technically they should be able to swim around the entire island. I'm not convinced. But it was opposite here. So what we're going to do is grab some rocks. And I'm going to put in, let's see, cliff 6. There we go. And let's just drop it down into the water. There we go. And pop that there. So that's submerged. Let's rotate that. Press R to rotate. And pop it in here. So we got some rocks here. Then we've got this rock here. So that kind of gives a good impression that there might still be other things going on there. What we're also going to do is grab, cliff 5. There you go. Right, press T. No, actually press R, rotate. and then press T, and then drop that down and drop it in. So we've got these kind of, let's sort of move that closer. There we go. The sharks will avoid cliffs and various bits and pieces, so I'm just wondering if this is enough to actually stop it. Let's press R, stop it from actually trying to swim under the island, whether it is actually swimming under the island, or whether it's a distance thing and it'll just disappear when it gets here anyway. I don't know. I honestly don't know. The other thing was this geometry here. There we go. Yep, there's obvious. Now we look at it. So we'll grab cliff 5 and then zoom out a little bit. Boop. There we do. That's how we do it. And then knock that in there. Now, just leave that kind of exposed. Is that too far down? No. All right, that looks okay. That's fine. Does exactly what we need it to do. Yeah, that's fine. I might put another one underneath. We'll probably never go under there. But the shark might go under there. So we'll drop that down, pop that in, pop that across. There we go, kind of tidies that up a little bit. Stops it just kind of disappearing down and changes it so it kind of comes in at, say, what's that? Like a 70-degree angle, then goes into so there's sort of 3 different angles there. It curves back on itself slightly. We've got these rocks under the water, which from the shore, let's go over here. From the shore, we're not really going to notice too much. We'll see them, but we won't really see what's going on unless we go for a swim. Also, this terrain needed a bit of smoothing, so let's do that. Let's hit smooth. Let's crank the amount up and set the size down. Let's see what we got here in terms of brushes. So that disappears when it hits the water fine. We'll just smooth that back. There we go. There we go. That's good. And then smooth that in. Okay, so that now has a bunch of rocks under the water. I'm not actually convinced it's going to stop the shark doing anything. This guy here, if we go back to objects, so we don't have a big blue thing swimming around. Right, okay, so what can we do about this guy? See, in the editor, he is not threatening at all. He's just kind of sat there being a shark. When we go into the real world, it becomes a little bit more questionable. The other thing we saw was some plant material here, but that's fine. It's close enough to the rocks that it doesn't really matter. What else? This was okay. Had some plant material down here. I'm wondering if we actually do something with this. If we move that across and that in, and just kind of, there we go, push that in. And then go back to objects. Objects. No, we are on objects, structures. That's what we want. So here we have Seafort. Is this Seafort 2? No, Seafort 2 is the one we got out there. Seafort 1. So Seafort 1, this guy here, will have grass and stuff on top of it if you let it have that. What I'm thinking is if we pop that down into the terrain like that, we get this lovely kind of bunker thing going on. We rotate it. Let's rotate it around a bit. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. So we've got these trees and they're growing out of the ground. That's fine. That's not a problem. Just gives us some interest at this part of the island, because otherwise you've got this huge kind of area of sand, and even when the game puts things like plant material in, it looks a bit odd. Well, I say odd. I mean, I guess empty. Kind of. There's a lot of features on the rest of the island. There's these sea forts over here. There's this kind of area here which kind of gets tied in with this. Now, this isn't going to do anything. It's not going to generate any loot, because the loot is actually going to be under the island, actually in the thing. But it gives us this little bit of extra interest. So we're not cheating by adding more points where loot can spawn, but it kind of ties this little building over here to this thing in the sand to these things over here. So you can kind of get the feeling that there may have been a military presence here or something, which I'm figuring a lot of the islands in the Pacific would have had some sort of military installation, given their Well, given the war in the Pacific in the last 70 years, I guess. So other things. Are there any ways we can kind of cheat the shark, make it not do... I don't know. I think we're just going to have to leave it, kind of suck it and see. So the other things we can do is we go back to animals, because we kind of left a few animals out last time. We are going to go and grab ourselves some black tips. So we got the patrol great white marlin, reef, and tiger. We don't want these guys. We want the reef. We did want the reef. What are we talking about? Ignore me. I talk nonsense. So this is a reef shark. Let's go and pick him up a little bit. What are you doing? Let's pop down. So this guy pretty much gets ignored. In fact, I don't really want to upset him too much, but let's just bring him closer. He kind of swims around being a reef shark. They're kind of interesting to have around, but they don't really offer us a threat. So we're going to pop him in the water, and he'll just kind of swim around. We might see him, we might not. I always put them so the dorsal fin's going to poke him out a little bit. He'll swim down to the height that he wants to be. And we'll put another one over here. There we go. Let's bring him up. Whoop. There we go. We don't need to rotate them around. In fact, I don't think we can rotate them around. I think we established that last time. So we'll pop them just so his dorsal fin's kind of touching the top of the water. And if we do hit R, there's no rotation for him. So that's okay. We'll grab a few of these stingrays and just pop them around the place. Let's do that. So that we got some other marine life fish and stuff. We'll still... we can rotate the stingrays. There we go. So we'll just kind of pop him in there. Just pop a few around the island. You can. I would say, obviously, you can take out the stingrays if you want some dinner. If you want to just take them out, they do offer meat. We'll do that and that. And then put another one over here. Just raise them up. And we can rotate. Can we rotate? Yeah, we can rotate that guy. So they'll just kind of be in the area. So that'll be fine. Let's do another one here. Press T, bring them up. And bring them close to land. Yeah, there we go. Whoop. There we go. So the stingrays are in, the black tips are in. We've added a little thing over here. That's kind of cool. The other thing I might want to do is just add something along this beach, because it's kind of big and empty and open, and I'm kind of a little concerned about that. So what we can do, hit terrain, hit lower, change the amount right down, take an object, take a structure, scroll down to find Seafort Bridge, pop that in the ground, raise it up, hit R, rotate, press T, and basically drop this thing into the world. There we go. Oh, but what are you doing? Don't worry. You'll soon find out. So the ends are down a little bit. Right, okay. Go back to terrain. We've got a brush already set. And just lower, just hit the lower. There we go. Might even be too much on the old amount there. Let's raise it up. So what we want is just to expose. Might actually do with being slightly larger. There we go. There's a lot of sand to get rid of, actually, thinking about it. But we'll smooth that off. And then raise that up across the end, and then hit smooth, and just kind of smooth this all off. Is that too much? Is that going to be too much? I think it might actually be a little bit too much. We'll just have to switch between lowering and smoothing. Cool. So hit lower again. No, that's raise. God damn it, game. Right, fine. We can push this back at the sides as well. I just want to expose a little bit of it, just to suggest that There was something there. Let's not do that. Let's smooth instead. There we go. There we go. The amount is so low. It's, ugh. So really crank that up a bit so that we actually get some motion. There we go. Let's crank the amount up again. This is just too little to play with. Oh, there we go. There we go. Again, it just adds like a suggestion of something popping out of the sand. Cool. Cool. So it itself will affect how... Oh, we need to lower that down. God. Do you remember when I said be very careful about the brushes and how the amount is inherited between all of the brushes? Yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting. So we need to punch that down. Oh, I really wish the inheritance between brushes were just didn't exist. That would be cool. It's worth playing with this though. It's worth doing it. It's worth doing it properly. So we'll just sort of brush that in, and it, yeah, look, it's starting to work. So basically, the area next to the sand, there's like it's raised up, and this area is raised up. We're not going to see it this close actually. And then let's do this. So we're smoothing this off. So it looks like something's actually buried in the sand. Now there is no sand. Obviously, it's just a mesh. I say obviously. Some people might not know that. It is just a mesh. So we'll just have that there, and it's another little bit of interest on this beach here. Cool. We can obviously... I keep saying obviously. Why do I keep saying that? It's stupid. We could throw a rock in there as well. Just here. So if we rotate, and rotate a little bit, and then press T, and kind of grab the green bit and push that in. Bring that out a bit, use red to bring it up, and then green down again. Gives a reason for the sand to be as it is. Fine, good. So we've got the stingrays in, we have the reef sharks in, we've patched the bottom of this rock, and we've kind of thrown a few bits of rock down there. Cool. We're going to need to save this. I honestly don't know what we can do with this. Shark here. It may be a problem. It may be something we can't solve, but let's do it anyway. So we're going to hit save. I'm going to save this. Yep. And then we're going to quit. Yep. Okay, by going into the cartographer again, it's going to say Deep Blue Sea is out of date. Do you want to change it? Well, what it means is the version actually in the world is out of date. And we're going to hit yes. And if we hover over that, it's still going to say version 8. It's like, oh no, what is wrong? I think even if we apply, that's still going to say version 8. Yeah, okay. But it's actually version 9 now. Every time you save it, the version number goes up. So we will replace that anyway. And then we hit apply. Hover over it and it should be current version. Okay, so it is current version. We're going to go back and we're just going to hit continue, and that's going to drop us into the game. I'm going to need to play around because otherwise we'll be dropped in the middle of the storm, so I'll join you momentarily. And welcome back. Yep, I just had to ride out the storm and then change the time of day, so we were actually the following day, otherwise we'd be in a storm. And then it says, actually it says sunny today. Immediately said, hang on a minute, it was going to rain. So I don't know. We're going to drink as we're flying high over the island. Now what we need to do is go and make sure our changes are in fact intact. So we'll go empty hands, because why not? We'll come down on the island. We'll never see the island from that point again, because yep, so here's some rocks and stuff. Okay, the geometry is all patched up, which is real nice. The rocks are all in place, which is again real nice. Can we actually see from the shoreline? Not really. When we're walking around, we're not really going to see any difference to what's going on. Other things, stingrays. Where are you, stingray? I don't know. Not sure. The walkway, if we get close to it. Yeah, could do with a bit of smoothing, but that's kind of cool. Fine. And the shark itself. Where are you, buddy? Where are you, buddy? I don't know where the shark's gone. Ah, that's a pain in the butt. He could have started trying to follow us when we were over there. Oh, let's playing a game of Hunt the Shark now. I don't want to play a game of Hunt the Shark. I want to know where you are so I can test you. I want to test you. The shark has either not spawned, which it should do right next to this boy, or it's being a pain in my butt. Not sure. The other thing we did was add... Oh. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. We added a thing here, and now it's gone. Ah, there it is. There it is. There's the shark. Hey, buddy! You found us then. So, yeah, the... Did we actually... Oh, that doesn't look right. That does not look right. Maybe we moved it or something. Shark everywhere, but not underneath us. Where are you? Okay, well, I can't find it again. These things are real hard to see, especially when you're actually in the game, and when you've got the freaking sun in your eyes. Where are you, buddy? If we're going to stand near the shore, you should actually turn up again. Bonk. Going to land on this thing. No. Are you going to be a pain in my butt? You are going to be a pain in my butt. I need to test you to see if you disappear, and now I think you've disappeared. Oh boy. Well, we're going to need to sort that out before we do anything anyway. Still doing shark noise, so that's fine. I wonder if he's under the sand. Oh, nope, there he is. You are really hard to spot. I think water translucency needs to be changed. Fine, let's go and see if we can kite you back over here. You do seem to have like a dash mechanic, which is very, very interesting. So when they kind of lose the player, they dash and they kind of say, ooh, I do need to go and follow you. All right, so you disappeared over here. Still can't really see you. All right, fine. See what's going to happen here. So he's there, he's there, he's there. He swims out beyond the rocks and he disappears. It might be a range thing. It might be a range thing. It might be that the shark disappears based on the patrol path, maybe. I've seen that with the great whites. The great whites get halfway around the other big island and then vanish. So I'm wondering if we change it from Tiger Patrol just to regular Tiger. I wonder if that would help. Of course, that mean he'd just be kind of sat here during our exploration of the island and only become active when we get close. But then, let's try that. Okay, fine. Let's quit and go back to the cartographer. Okay, so we're back in the cartographer, and what we're going to do is get this guy, and we're going to delete him. Goodbye. Right, fine. So we got the other creatures: reef tiger, tiger marlin, great white. Fine. These are patrol. I'm wondering if the reef sharks will be okay if we just put in a tiger shark without the patrol mechanic. So we do this, pop him there. Can we rotate you? We can actually rotate the non-patrol ones. Fine. Okay. So let's do that. And let's move him over a little bit. In fact, no, that should be close enough to pick up the player should we actually come out here. Right, okay, fine. The other thing we needed to look at was this. Why this disappeared. I'm wondering if these trees are a problem or... So that's very close to that. Should we move these trees? Let's do it. I'll do it! Yeah, okay, fine. So we need to make sure they are actually in the ground. I'm wondering if it's because an object is interacting with another object. That could be a thing. So we're not getting rid of any trees. What we're doing is moving things around a little bit, making sure everything's fully functioning. Okay, let's drop you down. Right, so there's no objects clipping into this. Not what about this? Well, we can move that up the beach slightly. There we go. Okay, fine. It's not elegant. We can raise this up a little bit, I guess. So that's the wrong button. It's the wrong wrong toggle. There we go. So we grab this and move it up. So I don't really want too much of this kind of poking out of the sand. Whoop, that's not you. This is you. Because you get this metallic plate appear. But I think we might have to kind of live with that. I'm wondering if this is so low in the mesh that it just vanishes. This is looking a little awkward there. So let's drop that down. Drop it out and down again. All right, fine. So that's less awkward being where it is. Good. That probably wouldn't grow through metal. So let's move that there. And make sure that it's actually touching the ground, which it is not. It is now. Fine, so these are all touching the ground. That's a little bit more prominent. Maybe, I mean, we haven't reached an item. Oh, have we reached an item limit for those? I think, let me see. Structures, scroll down, C41. No, doesn't seem like we've hit an item limit. Right, okay, fine. And this could do with a little bit more smoothing. I think we kind of worked out that. Right, okay, so we'll go back to terrain. Oh, we'll go back to the old smoothing tool. We'll crank it up. We'll crank the size down. Boop. There we go. And smooth this a little bit more. There we go. There's a lot less showing, but we get closer. Yeah. Okay. Fine. It's a bit of metal showing. Right. Okay. I'll just smooth the centerpiece off. No problem. No problem. In that bit there. Good. Good, right, okay. Well, we'll do the same thing as we've always done. We'll save and then we'll go and explore again. Hopefully this guy will actually not vamoose. Unfortunately, I'm wondering if we end up... the difference between patrol and the difference between just putting a tiger shark in, well, he'll just follow us around the island. Where the patrol would actually mean he sort of swims around and then but tries to stay here. Not entirely sure about that because I don't know how the shark AI is programmed. That is an interesting little thing. Okay, fine. So we'll save. Okay, and we're back in the main game. I'm going to turn the mouse sensitivity down again just to make sure nobody's sick as they're watching the video. And we're going to cruise across the sea just to make sure our water and everything is still okay. Even in God mode, we could still, well, we could still die. We can still die. So the world's going to load in below us. That's fine. We're going to cruise along. First of all, what I want to do is make sure... No, it hasn't rendered. It hasn't appeared. All the trees and everything have been moved, but it might be an item limit restriction. I'm thinking that might be an issue. Oh, shark. So the shark was there, and now he's not there anymore. So I'm thinking... We got close enough to the shore. Oh, there he is. To get him to appear, to get him to chase us. So the patrol is probably not necessary as we're playing the game. So that's fine. He can navigate that shipwreck, which is okay. Now, here's the thing. Come on, buddy. Where are you? We could always change the time of day to get rid of the glare off the water, but it's probably okay. It is 11:01. It's going to rain today. The rain is randomly chosen as we get to like 12 o'clock. As soon as the day changes, then it goes, ooh, you know what? So he's doing a little burst to try and keep up with us. So he is following us. Whoa, he's really cooking. Ah, look. Okay, so he's not disappeared. He is now underneath the rock arch. So by changing it to from patrol, oh, that'll be interesting. Oh, you can just squeeze through there. There's the black tip down there. So, oh right, so he's quite handily keeping up with us as we're cruising in kind of God mode. Now, this is the other side of the island. He's going to try and path round. Yeah, look at him go. He's pathing around the end of the rock, and he's coming back into the sun glare below us. All right, cool, good lad or lady, because I think these are actually. I think we established that the model was actually a female juvenile tiger shark. Okay, so the patrol versions of the sharks have an issue, but it looks like he's not trying to turn into a land shark or a sand shark. There's another black tip down there. I'm sorry, there's a lot of glare on the sea, but that's a thing. It's just scooting along. And we're back to the beginning. Cool. So this actually is going to be totally... Whoa, and there's a roar as he goes underneath. Okay, fine. Totally manageable. As far as this thing here goes, I'm not sure about this. I don't think this is something we can fix. I think it might be an item limit with sea forts. I'm going to have to look into that because the sea forts might actually... you might not be able to have more than 2. I recall that being a problem. But yeah, you can bury them actually in the island itself. What I could probably do is eliminate one C4 and just see if that one appears. And if it does, then it's an item limit issue. And if it doesn't, then, well, it could be something else. I mean, we can always replace this with something interesting, like a rock formation or something. It just looks a bit empty. The way it is, we're sort of wandering along here. It might be okay, but the reason we use rocks and stuff and trees and things is to just kind of occlude areas of the island, so it doesn't look like a big empty space. It looks like a natural space, which is a lot bigger than it actually is. So if you want to make something look real big, put stuff in the way that's going to block your line of sight. That's a top tip for any sort of map creation, actually. Otherwise, everything else looks fine, you know? The water looks fine. These rocks, the paths and everything look okay. There's nothing kind of jumping out, nothing looking like it should be repositioned or put elsewhere. The shark is doing his thing. So if we kind of go out, hopefully he'll be around, kind of kicking around somewhere. Don't know. Oh, and right on cue, it's raining. So this will be interesting. It's still version 0.30, which means that there's kind of a 60% chance this will be a storm. And I believe this might actually be a storm. Oh, this will be cool because it'll allow us to see what happens on these islands. Now, this is the lowest of the 2 islands. So we can actually see 2 things happen here. First of all, things that you place on the surface of the water, things that float, will bob up and down even in the biggest of swells, but they won't move anywhere. So that's kind of cool. The other thing I'd like to see is how this island is affected by huge swells, because the waves come in, and I think because of the landmass, because the actual landmass itself, the waves won't break over the land. Yeah, they kind of clip into it a little bit. Huh. That's fascinating. Captain, this is fascinating. So that's kind of cool. That's it's going to get real loud. So yeah, the waves are coming up bigger than the land itself. If it was just cliffs, they would swamp this area. And they should, by design, swamp these walkways, which I think they'll do sort of occasionally. They won't... There we go. Yeah, some of the walkways are being swamped. So that's kind of cool. Right, okay, fine. So if I can sort that sea fort out before we start recording this, then that'd be great. You know what? I'm gonna quit out of this. Okay, you know what? Just for completeness, I'm going to delete this this item here. So let's get rid of this sea fort. Let's do it. Let's press delete on the keyboard. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. We'll leave this walkway here because we don't need it, and then we'll see what goes on over here. Do we need two sea forts? Probably not. But I want to see if there is an item limit on the sea forts where the game might not actually tell us there is an item limit. So let's try it. Let's go and save. Let's go back to the game, and then we'll have a complete understanding of what's going on our island. And I think that'll probably be it. So just as an experimental little save, and once more into the main game. Alright, so we are back in the game. We've eliminated one of the sea forts, and we are going to go and check and see if no, it's not turned up. That is very, very interesting. I'm going to have a play with this. Is that rocket? Yeah, everything's in the right place, but the sea fort has not turned up. So there is an item kind of missing. I might have to play around with that, or maybe just eliminate it entirely and kind of, put something else there. So we can go back into the island editor and create another sea fort. Just basically just drag the object back in, reposition it, and it'll be fine. It'll be something for us to explore when we actually play this game. However, I think as far as the island goes, it looks like everything is pretty much okay. The shark has been fixed. The hole in geometry has been fixed. The sea has been kind of tidied up. Just a few edges have been tidied up. I've got shark noise in my headphones, which basically means I'm thinking that tiger is onto us pretty much straight away. So as a cost from changing it to Tiger Shark Patrol to Tiger Shark just do what the hell you want, it might be that Tiger Shark do what the hell you want is really going to not get annoying, but oh, there he is. So he's just gonna go and swim around us in a bit of a circle there. Yeah, so that's what they do. If you're sat on a raft, they'll go and swim around you in a circle and maybe even bump your raft, because tiger sharks are horrible creatures. There is also a danger that if we come here, because he's not patrolling this island, he might follow us back to a different island. I'm not sure. I mean, if he becomes a problem, we can always write him out of the JSON file as we're playing, out of the save game file. That's always a possibility. There he goes, round and round in a circle, like it ain't nobody's business. That's what they do. It's what you probably can't see from sea level or raft level. Good. Well, everything else is fine. So you know what? I might just leave you guys here. If you've liked this series of videos, then be sure to drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop a thumbs up. No, the thumbs up is a like. A comment. That'd be cool. And you know what? I will catch you next time. And next time, we'll be back in the game playing this for real. It might be a while before we get to this island, because we've got to go back and offload our stuff at home island and everything. But we'll be here before too long. Until then, bye!